Good afternoon, everybody. My name is David Lawrence Bowser. I'm the son of Robert Louis Bowser, and I was going to give a eulogy today, but maybe be more of a verbal judo thing, because we're the Bowser family and we run this. No, very, very seriously. It's very interesting to hear the tales of, my father always said that he was a public planner, land surveyor, civil engineer, and a politician, obviously. And he enjoyed retirement. And he always told me, he said, if he had to do it all over again, he would have been a lawyer because he was in court so much. And so it's very interesting to hear all that. But I know that there's going to be a lot of things said today and stories shared today that we've already heard. But I think there's one thing that we could universally agree on, is that, make no mistake, I think this is without equivocation, that my father knew those streets that y'all walked up in here on better than anyone else. And it was confirmed for me when he did relocate to Maryland from here, the state of Maryland, with his wife, Maryland. And we went through some of his personal effects. And I might leave this with you, Mayor Green, when we leave. He had from 1998 to 2014 the EO development, and there's like 8 pages here of just stuff. Every address, up and down all these streets. And you go around the United States and you find very few people that people don't sneeze in that town unless a leader knows about it. And I think my father definitely had that. It's just because of the Bowser legacy. This is a celebration, but it's also very sad because my father was the youngest of the 4 Bowser men. We heard Oak Street a little while ago. Family is here in the front row. We all remember my grandfather, Edward Theodore Bowser, Sr. The Bowser compound that you always talk about. I was too young for that, on Oak Street. And he left behind four children, Eddie Jr., Lucius Arthur, and also Hamilton Victor. The family's here, and once we get out of here, we'd love to meet all y'all in the vestibule after it's done. But that's what you do. You impact a community, making a difference, leaving a legacy, using the best of the short time we have here on this side. I'm not going to be up here very long because I'm going to get right to the public part of the legacy that my dad left here in the municipality of East Orange, because we had a very unique relationship, to say the least. I reached out to him personally when I had some relationship troubles. We all do. We all get knocked back. And I just asked him a question about how he grew up and our relationship. And you got to understand, this was a time when my father did not become mayor until he was 62 years old. I'm 60 years old. I don't know how old you are, Mayor Green. But I asked him like a lot of the history between us, and he wrote back like a 25-page letter, just detailing everything from his upbringing on Oak Street up to the present. And I never thought he had that in him, to be very honest with you. He was a very reserved, person. He did not mince words, but he was a very, very unique person. And that defining moment kick-started a new sort of relationship for us. And a short time later, he called me and he said, "My name is David." He said, "Dave." And when he called me Dave and not David, I really knew I had to listen, which really isn't a highlight of the Bowser family. And he said, "I'm running for mayor of East Orange." And I got to tell you guys, I thought he was out of his effing mind. My father was working in the family business, and you get into this political arena, and it's a whole nother deal. And and at this point, I could put the speech down and really talk about the heart, about what happened. I came back up here. I was living in New Orleans at the time, where his mother, his biological mother, was from. Hamilton went down to Louisiana and found a birth certificate where Louise Peyton Bowser was born in the French Quarter on Burgundy and Conti Street. And the year was 1997. And I don't know if any of you guys have seen this movie, Gandhi. I'm not going to quote any stuff from the Mahatma, but when he went to South Africa and started doing things to change people's minds, a white Christian preacher came up to him and just said, "I'm here to help you." And he said, "You're probably surprised to see me." And he said, "I'm not surprised at all." And lo and behold, I'm I'm sitting in Maryland's living room, and people pop up out of the ground. We've heard William McNeely came up here from East Orange, back to East Orange, from Charlotte, North Carolina, dressed to the nines, better than Daryl is, because he worked at Brooks Brothers at the time. Came up here on a bus, from what I understand, had no job, and said, Bob, I want to help you to become mayor of East Orange. And other names, Malik was his nickname. We all affectionately knew Malik from knew those streets in Newark. BJ, we saw her up there on the thing. My cousin Alan was very involved in the campaign. My cousin Edward, and of course Marilyn. Obviously, you have to have somebody to believe in your crazy idea. And also too, I'm glad to see Tina's here. That was the first time I ever met Larry Schumacher. Larry Schumacher was a real. I know a lot of stuff has been said up here. He was a real All-American from Essex Catholic High School, and from what I understand was the first African-American defensive captain at the University of Notre Dame. This was back in 1967 to 69. And Larry, he would run through the wall for my father, do anything for him. And we're talking about a street campaign. Now, you've heard about the Bowser family, and we do have the benefit of education, but you get a PhD real quick in political science running for the mayor of East Orange. Pulling people off the street. My father had a shoestring campaign at Evan Bowser over there on Central Avenue. I know there's a lot of talk. I can sit up there all day about the A line and what's going on in Essex County. He was not on that line to begin with in 1997. The East Orange motorcade, the thing, you have the cars that kind of go up and down the street with the balloons, and my cousin Edward. We had no police presence then, doing the detail and having the cars go through the neighborhoods. And then up here, you guys have a really good newspaper. Used to be very popular back in the day, the Star Ledger. On Sunday, they give the endorsements of who they support for the Tuesday election, and my father was not on the line. And this is a time, again, we only had 8 people who were working in that campaign. And they endorsed my father, even though he was off the line. The next day, we go to the back of Evanbow, and there's like 100 people sitting out there. And I said to my dad, I said, who are all these people? And he goes, and he did not mince words, and I'm not going to use any profanity up here. And he said, David, I haven't seen any of these effing people since I graduated from high school. And I said, when did you graduate from high school? He said, 1953, and that's the reason why we got that in the obituary. So the impact of his impact is very, very legendary. Really appreciate Governor Corzine's comments about he was not transactional. That's something that the police chief told you about. Let politics, I'll handle the politics, because it's a very, very demanding job. I went on social media. He had like 200, when the announcement was made of his death on April 2nd, all the comments were very positive. No one said, you were the worst mayor in history, and you have a lot of enemies. That's been said up here. I didn't know that, he made pancake breakfast at Norman Towers until all this happened. And we put that up there in the picture. So leaving an impact, this is what other people are saying, not me and not Marilyn, but real people, the local people of you here in East Orange. And the native son, and that was my dad, really connected with where he was born, raised, and he made a hell of a significant difference. And that's something that we could all take from. So Dad, thanks for making East Orange a better place. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for teaching me how to be a good son. And I love you, and we love you. Thank you.